These are my film case studies for my exam that I will be sitting in May. It's the idea of contrasting Hollywood blockbuster and British independent film. My first film is Suicide Squad. The pre-production, this section is all about how they started to make the film and how they got the beginning ideas. In February 2009, Warner Brothers had already begun to create the Suicide Squad film. It was, I think it's the third instalment of the DC Extended Universe, which includes films like Batman vs Superman. In September 2014, David Ayer, the director, he was signed on to write and direct the film. By October, casting had already begun, and he wrote the script in 6 weeks because the release date had already been made. Production. Casting took place in October 2014. Warner Bros. had originally offered Ryan Gosling, Tom Hardy, Margot Robbie and Will Smith roles, but by November the main cast was released, so Tom Hardy, he obviously wasn't in the end film. And filming began on April 13, 2015. Most of the filming took place in Toronto and some of it took place in Chicago, Illinois. Filming finished on June 24, 2016, and editing took up the last few months. With heavy CGI used in some of the scenes. They shot the film using the Phantom Flex 4K. By the time the final film was cut, most of the Jokers, so Jared Leto's scenes, had been cut. Marketing. They had, as they had quite a big budget of 175 million, they obviously could use a lot of their money on marketing. And one of the main ways they did it was through trailers and posters. In 2015, the cast was at San Diego Comic Con, which is basically where loads of comics come together and they get to talk about their films and all stuff like this, and it's quite a big event in America. They released a teaser trailer there, however, I think it was hacked and leaked, so then a couple of days later they released it officially. And from there on out, there was a few more trailers released, as well as posters which are dedicated to specific characters, such as the ones in the bottom left there. On the online app Snapchat, they had a special little news tab, which basically gave you character profiles, which you could read. We could optionally pick to choose to read or not. And they had posters on the London buses. Distribution. Warner Brothers released the film on the 5th of August 2016, with its premiere being at the Beacon Theatre in New York on August 1st. They had decided this date from already from 2014, so everything they did before was to make sure it's come out August 5th. It was released in 80 different countries, with the United States being the first country. It was released in 2D, 3D and IMAX. Overall cost at this point made the budget $325 million as advertising and promotions added onto the budget. Exhibition. It grossed over $745.6 million at the box office. It was the 10th highest grossing film of 2016. Its soundtrack received an Oscar, as well as it being nominated for best makeup and hairstyling. The IMAX viewing made up $11 million of the opening numbers from 380 theatres in America. The film has now earned the biggest Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday in August history. It made $179.1 million in its first week of release, and it is now available on DVD and as an iTunes download. Synergy and cross-media convergence. Main examples of synergy would be with the soundtrack. It was separate entities. It was a separate entity which was sold on CD, digital download and vinyl, which in turn marketed the film. Warner Brothers worked with DC Comics and DC Entertainment to produce the film. And they also worked with the figurine company Funko Pop to create the Suicide Squad figurines. So in the bottom left, they also have Deadshot and Jared Leto, the Joker. And then my next film, my British independent film, is Ex Machina. Pre-production. Alex Garland is the director, and he had the ideas for the film when he was very young. Principal photography, however, took place on the 15th of July 2013. Production. It was shot for 4 weeks at Pinewood Studios in England before moving to Sweden to be shot for 2 weeks in a hotel. It was filmed in 4K, which is quite a high resolution. There was no green screen or tracking markers used in filming. Everything they edited in was done post-production. They shot most of the scenes twice in order to capture the film with Alicia Vikander's face and then to edit on the robot body. So in this picture, her face is coming out of the wall, but then there's her there. They shot it twice so they could have her body, and then they shot it again so they could remove her body and then put the robot on. Marketing. As they were an independent film and only had a budget of 15 million, they had quite a small marketing campaign. They used the dating app Tinder to make a fake profile for a girl called Ava, using the photos of Alicia Vikander, who was the robot. The Tinder profile then directed some of the matches to an Instagram page for the film. The film made its own virtual reality with the Samsung VR headset, which they could then go and use, I think especially at a small film festival that they went to. They mainly targeted a national audience, England, before it was spread to the US. Distribution. It was released on the 21st of January 2015 in the UK. Universal and Focus Features refused to release the film to the United States, so A24 Films jumped to release and spread it to the US. It was released at the South by Southwest Festival on the 14th of March 2015 before theatrical release on the 10th of April. It grossed 36.9 million at the box office. The National Board of Review recognised it as one of the top 10 British best independent films of the year. It received an Oscar for Best Visual Pictures, as well as 63 more awards. Ex Machina was shown in 2D in cinemas, and it is now available to watch on the online platform Netflix. Synergy and cross-media convergence. The film worked together with Samsung to create a virtual reality. This is also an example of technological convergence. A soundtrack album was released digitally on the 20th of January 2015 with an LP and a compact disc UK, released in February 2015 by Invada Records. Tinder was also an example of synergy as it was used for marketing of the film. And then that's the end.
Okay.